Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. As some of you know, I am currently quarantining with my boyfriend and his family, and they have a Peloton bike, and I've been loving riding it. I've made a bunch of different content about what I like, what I don't like about the Peloton, riding it, and just my general experience, so go check those out if you haven't already. But today I'm going to talk about something a little bit different. I am finally going back to San Francisco. Right now I'm in Los Angeles. I live in San Francisco, that's where my job is. I came down to LA to be with my boyfriend when this quarantine thing was happening. That was back in the middle of March. It's now the end of June. It is time for me to leave Los Angeles. It's time for me to go back to where I live. I just have a bunch of stuff waiting for me in San Francisco, and I've really been here for 3.5 months. It's time to get on with my life, get back to San Francisco. But unfortunately, that means that I'm leaving the bike behind. My work actually does have a Peloton bike in San Francisco, but we are closed until at least 2021, and honestly, I can't see them opening the gym at my work anytime soon because of all of this craziness, and obviously I wouldn't really want to go anyways. Probably not the most safe place to be. So I will not be riding the Peloton bike anytime soon once I leave here, which is sad, but I've been trying some of the other things that Peloton has offered now on my off days when I don't really feel like cycling, just to kind of get a vibe of workouts that I can do in San Francisco when I'm there. One of the big things that I've been trying out is the outdoor running classes. So basically this is just audio and it's just the instructor. They play some music in the background that they choose. The instructor talks to you throughout your run, basically to tell you to go faster or slow down. So I thought that I would just give you my review of these classes, what I like about the classes, what I don't like about the classes, and advice for new runners. I would definitely classify myself as a new runner. I didn't really run before this. I went on the treadmill and the elliptical at the gym in my apartment. I don't even want to say semi-frequently, but when I worked out, that's what I did. But besides that, I didn't run outside, didn't do anything else. So I definitely needed help getting into running. And I think that these outdoor classes were a really good bridge into that. First, I'll talk about the things that I like about the Peloton outdoor running classes. The instructors and the music is just great. I feel like that's across the board. You're never going to take classes and be like, oh, the instructor is not 100% committed to this. The instructors are always fantastic. They always put together really good classes. There's a lot of overlap. Robin Arzon does outdoor running classes and I really like her on the bike. So I've taken a bunch of outdoor classes with her and I really like the setup. It's really motivating for me and I feel like it pushes me harder that basically they're like, okay, now run faster for a minute. I feel like I don't have the motivation when I'm running to push myself, but hearing it from someone else, I'm just like, okay, I'll run faster for the minute. So I definitely feel like that has helped me a lot, especially as a new runner, kind of get into it. I've been doing tempo runs, which you go faster for 3 minutes and then you do a jog recovery pace for 3 minutes and you kind of alternate between that. I also like that there's a lot of different varied lengths of the classes, and this is also true for all Peloton classes, but there's 15-minute runs, 20-minute runs, 30-minute runs, 45-minute runs, and I definitely like that there's a varied length and you can kind of choose how long you want to run. Although it seems small, obviously you shouldn't be going on a 5 to 8 mile run every day, right? You need to do varied lengths. So it's nice that they have that and that you don't have to modify anything. You can just choose what length run you want and you are on your way, good to go. So now I'll talk about the things that I don't like about these outdoor running classes. So the first thing that I don't like, which is not a huge deal to me right now, but I can see it being a problem depending on my location, is that you basically need a flat road to run on that's indefinitely long, or a circle that you can just keep running on this flat road. Right now I just run in the neighborhood and it's relatively flat here. I think there's only 100 feet of elevation difference in my runs, and even that I find demotivating. I hate because it doesn't line up right with whatever the person's saying. You're supposed to be sprinting and then it's up a hill and I'm like, no, I don't want to sprint up a hill. So it's definitely unfortunate. I feel definitely in San Francisco I won't have a big problem with it either because San Francisco is mostly flat where I live. Believe it or not, I feel SF people are it's hilly, but in the area I live it's very flat. So I think that I'll be fine there. But for example, I am originally from Pennsylvania, and I think like if I ever visited my parents' house, I'd never be able to do these classes where they live because it's very hilly around the neighborhood, so I'd have to like drive to a trail to do it. Obviously makes it more inconvenient to do. So I think that's definitely something to keep in mind if you're trying to get into this, that if you don't have like a flat road readily available to you, you should drive to one. And if you don't want to do that, then this is probably not the best set of classes for you. Another thing that annoys me is the Apple Watch app. In my last video, I talk about all the things I hate about the Peloton bike, and I really kind of like go hard on the Apple Watch and how I don't like the functionality of it, and that continues true to the outdoor runs. So first off, I'll try to insert a photo. The heart rate randomly goes in and out, so like it seems like it only reads it for a minute and then it takes a break for a minute, and I'm not sure why that is because on every other app I have, like that's not a problem. You can always continuously read the heart rate. Like it's fine on the Peloton bike, so I don't know why it's not fine here, which isn't a huge deal, but it's also like just weird looking at the data at the end and it's like, what is even happening? Why is the Peloton app designed this way? So that's definitely something that I don't like. Also, when I just like look at my watch during the run and the app comes up, all it shows me is my heart rate or it like not getting my heart rate. What I really want to know is I want to know how far I've ran in like distance. I want to know how long there is left of the run. Like I'm carrying my phone with me, but I don't want to like stop and look at my phone. It's a lot more effortless to just turn and look at the watch, but basically the watch gives me none of the information I want. So I'm going to have to like unlock my phone anyways and look at it if I want to, which obviously isn't like a huge deal, but it is nice to know in a ride. Like I like to know about how fast I'm running, how far I've ran, and I just can't get this information easily when it feels like it should easily be able to just be on my watch like, oh, you have 7 minutes left, oh, you've ran 2 miles. Why is it only my heart rate? Like that's like the one piece of information I do not care about during a run. They could just throw away the entire Apple Watch app and just try again, in my opinion. Like I don't know why it's only the heart rate. And while we're talking about apps, the iPhone app for the outdoor running, not great either. It has a lot of like decent information, like it'll tell you your elevation change for each mile, like it'll break down your time for each mile that you run, which I appreciate, but I wish that there was more data. So in like the tempo runs, they'll tell you to run faster for a section and then like slow down for a section. They show like your speed throughout the run, and I wish they could like section off like, oh, this was like the first like time they told you to speed up. This was the second time. Just because I don't see a clear difference in my running. I think that's because I'm a beginner and I hope that I can get better at it, at like being faster when they say faster and being actually slower when they say slower. But I'd like to be able to like compare when I think that I'm going faster and if I really am and like what that looks like. And right now I think that that is hard to compare. Also, I think that comparing runs are just hard in general. So for the Peloton bike, basically they measure your output, which is a combination of like resistance and cadence. And then if you have the highest output for your like whatever length ride, so 45-minute ride, for example, then that is your PR. And like it's very easy to compare past rides and like future rides against that because it's just a number. And I understand that's harder for running, but basically there's no like sense of PR. Like I've just been trying to compare my past rides on like how fast I run, which is basically just how far I go for the same amount of time, which I guess is what they would have to do too, but it would be nice if they did it for me and they could kind of like rank my runs and give me some more like information of if I'm getting better at running or not. Another thing that I'm kind of torn on if I like or dislike, and maybe it's different for different runs, but I haven't done any that hasn't been like this, is always when you're supposed to go faster or slower, it's all on like perceived effort. So they're basically like out of 10, 10 being like sprinting as fast as you can only hold it for like 5 seconds or whatever, and 1 being like, I don't know, I guess walking or standing. They're just like, oh, go like a 4 out of 10. And personally for me, I feel like that's really hard to understand how hard I should be going as a new runner. And I just don't really know what to do, basically. Like, I try to just kind of do a jog, and then they're like, oh, 6 or 7 out of 10. And now I'm like, okay, like a little bit faster. Like I mentioned earlier, when I go through the speed of my run afterwards, I can't really tell where the speed ups were, which mean I'm not doing it. And I feel like it's because I don't really have a goal to hit. Like, I wish they could give some suggestions like, oh, a 4 should be like a 9-minute mile. But I get that running is very personal to everyone, so that would also be hard to do. But I kind of feel like I don't really know like even where the starting point should be and like where I should be improving from. So I definitely wish that they offered some more guidance on that. And then finally, my last two things I don't like kind of go hand in hand. The first is that there's a lack of classes. So one of the things I liked was that there is a lot of different length classes, but they basically only come out with one class a day max. So it's like one 15-minute run or one 45-minute run. And I've definitely been trying to get into like longer runs recently, so doing like 45 minutes, and I haven't done that many classes, and I'm almost out of classes that are 45 minutes with music I like. So eventually, I guess I'll just do 45 classes of music that I don't know or don't like. But I definitely feel like if you actually want to run every day, this is not going to cut it. Peloton bike, there's several classes coming out with a day, so like I only do instructors that I really, really like. But here I feel like you kind of just have to deal with it because I don't even know if they come out with a class every day. I get that this is not the main thing that they're making money on, so it makes sense to not focus on it, but it also kind of stinks that there's like a lack of choices. The second thing is that I struggle to find structure for my running. Like, I know it's not good to run like 5 miles a day, for example, every day, but I'd really love to kind of have some structure and be like, okay, run 5 times a week, do, two 20-minute runs, two 30-minute runs, one 45-minute run, and then also like here's some core classes that can go with the running. And they have at least one that's like marathon training, but I'm not trying to train for a marathon yet. Basically, like I just want some like beginner running with some recommendations of core, and they don't have like any of these structured programs, and I feel like they could put some together, but they just don't. And I feel like I can't really put them together because I don't know what I'm doing. So I wish that they offered more structure in the classes that they offer. Okay, so that was all the things I didn't like. I know it felt kind of long, but I promise I actually do really like these outdoor runs. I do them, I find them motivating. I run way more than I did before, which was like not at all. And I really think that it's a good workout. So here is some advice that I have if you are a new runner. And it's not a lot, and take it with a grain of salt because I am also a new runner, but these are the things that I figured out pretty quickly. So the first thing seems obvious, start with like shorter runs. I think the first run I did was like 30 minutes, and even that I think could have been shorter. You don't want to run like 5 or 6 miles right out of the gate. I was really sore after my first run, so I feel like I could have even done like less mileage. I only ran like a little over 3 miles and I was still very, very sore the next day. I feel like I could have even ran shorter than that and like been less sore. It took me a couple days to recover from that first run. So definitely like take it easy, do slow runs, always do a pre-run stretch and a post-run stretch. The first time that I ran, I only did post-run and I was really sore afterwards, and then I started doing pre-run stretches too, and I think that's helped a lot. So I would definitely recommend pre-run and post-run stretch. They have those on the Peloton app. Highly recommend those to not be sore. The second is obviously you take breaks. I feel like on the Peloton bike, there's a lot less impact on your body. So it was very easy for me to just ride every single day on the Peloton, basically. At the beginning, I was riding every day on the Peloton for like an hour, really good workout, and I wasn't feeling that sore, so it felt fine. Running cannot do that. I cannot run like 5 miles a day every day. Obviously, it's way more impact on your body. So just plan to take breaks, do like strength and core on the off days, ride the Peloton if you have it. But yeah, basically, this is not something that you can do every single day if you're planning on running like 5 miles. I think you could probably get away with doing shorter runs every single day, and I think that's what I'll try when I'm in San Francisco. But even then, I feel like giving your body time off to recover and doing other exercise is probably a good idea. And then finally, my last piece of advice is to buy good running shoes. So I had athletic sneakers here that I had just bought at like TJ Maxx or something like 3 years ago, and I got a huge blister like my first run, and then I got another blister my second run, and then I bought new shoes because I feel like that's such an important thing to like have actual running shoes to be able to run effectively. So that's it for this video. I hope it was helpful. If you're considering starting to do Peloton runs, I hope you do. Peloton also offers a lot of yoga classes and they actually have a program for like people new to yoga, so I've been considering taking that. Maybe I'll start getting into yoga. I hope you guys are having an awesome week, staying safe, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye!